My name is Jessica Traynor, and I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager for our Aerospace and Defense business at IFS. Today, I'm joined by Chris Morton, A&D Global Industry Director, who recently joined the company in January. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce Chris to the A&D community, for him to give us a bit of background on himself, the reason he joined IFS, and an overview of what's to come for the industry at large. So Chris, if you can start by telling us about your role here at IFS as Global Industry Director.
Sure thing, Jess. I appreciate it. Yeah, I really think about this role kind of in a dual way. The first is kind of an internal role. It's my responsibility to bring context and experience to the IFS technology ecosystem at large, and that really applies cross-functionally. Everything from marketing to research and development, to kind of sales, being able to be that sort of contextual industry knowledge across all of those functional areas. The second area really is external. Want to be able to provide sort of this connective tissue between customer challenges and desired business value, and our way at IFS of providing these key and critical capabilities to the industry so that they can be successful. So, yeah, the role is a little bit of a dual role, so work both internally and externally.
Great. Well, we're so glad to have you here on the team. Why did you decide to join IFS?
There's really kind of two reasons. I mean, the first, to be perfectly honest, is aerospace and defense is kind of in my DNA. I grew up a military brat. I served in the Army for almost 21 years in multiple roles, operationally as an attack helicopter pilot, but also some more strategic roles as a defense analyst, and also, a myriad of other positions. And I still fly small airplanes for fun. I just love aviation. And the second is actually kind of related to that. At IFS, A&D is really at the core of the organization. I looked that up once, and there's like 35 globally accepted industries, if you will. IFS only plays in 6, and that's very deliberate. That matters a lot, that focus that IFS brings, especially to the aerospace and defense industry. It kind of goes back to that old football saying, if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one. And the point is, if you don't have a focus, you're really going to miss things and dilute things. And IFS's focus on aerospace and defense was really meaningful to me.
Okay. Great. You do have an impressive CV where you've worked in the US Army as well as the Pentagon and being a professor at Shippensburg University. What's your career highlight to date?
I've been really lucky to have a diverse set of experiences, but kind of two, I guess, areas really stand out. The first is in the leadership roles that I've had, both operationally in helicopter squadrons, and then also really in non-operational roles. You mentioned Shippensburg University. I ran an Army ROTC program there as a professor of military science, and both of these roles, in an operational way, allowed me the honor to work with some of the most dedicated people on the planet. They were keen to serve something bigger than themselves. But in the teaching role, being able to educate future Army officers on organizational leadership in the classroom was really meaningful. And in both instances, I get to stay in touch. I just had a conversation with one of my former students just this weekend as we caught up. The second area I think was developmentally, personally for me. I served on both the Army staff and the Joint Staff and the Pentagon, and to be perfectly honest, getting an understanding for the processes and systems of national decision making at the strategic level, as well as having the opportunity to receive tutelage from some of the most senior people in the Defense Department, was super valuable because not only does it bring you the understanding of processes and how they work, but it also brings context to the entirety of the decision making, which really spans the whole of government. So that was a really great experience for me.
Right. Can you tell us what you're looking forward to most?
Yeah, that's an easy one. Frankly, it's looking forward to interacting with our customers. Having served in the military for so long, very often I was a customer of our customers. I'm really excited to see often how they develop and produce some of the key and critical capabilities for the warfighters in the field. I can go to them and say, yeah, I absolutely used that, and every time I needed it, it 100% worked. They love receiving that feedback, and for me, it's kind of cool to see how they develop it. So it's thrilling to be a part of that process, and anytime I get a chance to talk anything aviation or anything in the defense industry, I absolutely love it.
Right. Where will we see you next?
Sure, two ways. So Virtually, I'm going to be putting together a video series over the next few months, kind of discussing our predictions for the defense industry. We made 4 of them, so we're going to evaluate in 2025 how things are really shaping up, kind of where we got it right and where we got it wrong series. So it should be a lot of fun. The second is in person. My first conference is going to be coming up at National Harbor, the Navy League Sea Airspace 2025 Conference and Exposition. It's April 7th through the 9th. We're going to have a setup. I'd love to be able to meet anybody and chit chat and collaborate. I also just want to point out the irony of all of this is that the first conference that IFS chose to send me to after almost 21 years in the Army is a Navy conference. So I think I'm going to have to speak in the back door. So
Great. Thanks, Chris. We're so glad to have you on the team, and we can't wait to see what's in store for 2025.
thanks, Jess. Me too.